Good morning, Stampers. It's Friday, so it's Friday Fun Day with Becky. Hi, I'm Becky Hahn at Becky Stamping Studio in Davenport, Iowa. And it's Friday, and I'm here today with a technique. So we will not be making a card necessarily from beginning to end, but you'll be watching me experiment and play and what have you with this technique that's kind of come around. Remember, I've been around almost 25 years. So everything old is new again. And this is a technique we did years ago, and it's called whitewash. It uses my favorite stamp set that we've been using is one called Camellia. And if you're thinking, I don't remember seeing that one, that's because it is a Host set. If you spend $300 or have a Stampin' Up! Party during celebration, which was last month and this month of February, you can earn this Host stamp set with a $300 party or more. You can either have a party and gather up orders, or you can place that $300 order yourself. It is lovely. It is a distinctive stamp set, which means it has a lot of really awesome shading, and the words are just really, really nice too. So this is Calming Camellia. Yeah, and so it's available until the end of February, on February 28th. So this is one of the stamps. However, I was worried that, okay, I like this. What else can we use? And basically open stamps, anything you might color. Here's another one that's new in our January to June catalog called Blessings of Home. I've done some coloring on this. May add a little bit more. Like I said, we're just kind of experimenting and playing today. There is a little smaller piece if you don't want to color quite so much for the first go around. And then I also went searching, and I actually saw a card that was done with Nature's Harvest. Now this was in the fall mini, the July to December mini, but it is carrying over. And so I'll show you one that I have done with this, but it was not a completed card, so I don't have it here on my table at the moment. So let's get started. I'll kind of leave these here. Episode 14, 3.5 months already. If you'd like to go to my blog, I will have actual dimensions and directions with all of these cards that I'm showing you today. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator or would like to place an order, this is my host code for February. And anyone who does place an order through me will receive one of my completed cards that I've used in one of my videos or posted on my blog. So there's that. So I'll pull these up just a little bit. Like I said, these will be on my blog, and I will post them below on my YouTube page in the comments. This is a whitewash technique, and what you're going to need, and I bet many of you already have in your collection, is our white Stampin' craft pad. Now this has been around for quite some time. It's a pigment ink, so it is more of a sponge pad, and it comes with its own re-inker, and it comes dry. So you will need to patiently ink that up and let it soak in. You can get more refill ink, and which is something that's on my list to put on my order for Stamp Club tomorrow. So you're going to need the refill ink anyway, and the stamp pad. You notice I've got some ink in the lid. That will help too. So you need a white craft pad or some kind of pigment ink, white pigment ink, and to do this particular technique. The other item you'll need is a blender pen. Okay, these are blender pens. They have 2 tips. They do stain. They are a mixture of glycerin and water. And so it works really nicely with a lot of things. And so you can see, I think this is the white one I was using because the tip isn't quite as dark, but they come in a set of 3. And I am in much need of replacing them. I hadn't used them for a while. So anyway, so you'll need a blender pen. The other thing you'll need is something resistant. And I like the Stampin' Block C. That's what this one is, to put your ink on. I don't like to lift the ink directly from the ink pad, but that's my preference. So I like to either use it from the lid, as you could see, or use it on the block. Now, I did do a little experimenting and I'll share my success or lack thereof. I have as optional the white Stampin' Right chalk marker, which looks like this. It is still available. It's great for white areas. However, mine is very dry. Okay, so guess what's also going on my club order? Marianne, you're going to really benefit this time around. For coloring, I was going to try a Stampin' Right marker, a blend, or refill ink. And I did try the refill ink without success, so I was thinking probably none of the others would work either. But if you want to sit and play one afternoon, that's something that you can consider. The other thing that I didn't add that I've got sitting over here are my actual watercolor pencils and my soft pastels. So we'll kind of play with that a little bit today. So what you're going to need first is to choose a stamp that you think will work. I'm going to look at my first one here that actually was a sample. I don't remember who did this one. Is her name on here? Lisa Freeman. And it's Soft Succulent, which is a really lovely soft color. And on that, I took the Camellia and stamped it in a darker color. You're going to want to stamp this in something darker. So you're going to want to pair up and experiment, and I'll show you some of my fails and successes, with the Evening Evergreen ink pad. Okay, and this might be the one I'll color, I don't know. This then is one of the more simple stamps in the Blessings of Home that doesn't have quite so much coloring. So I was stamping some things so I'd have some options. Okay, so there's that one. Another one that I really did like is, again, using this Calming Camellia. This is Navy on Misty Moonlight. I really liked that color combination as well. And so I stamp on a piece or quarter piece, and then you can cut. In this case, I cut it in a circle and do whatever you would like with that. On this particular card, I used the Blessings of Home and the same color combination, the Misty Moonlight with the Night of Navy. And there is a coordinating die set with this Blessings of Home. And so I took the stamp and I put my dies when they will fit on a piece of magnet and put them inside. So this has a die that you can cut it out. It also has a smaller one and some neat bows and things. So this is in the January to July mini catalog. And so I did cut this one out. And in both cards, I stamped the background with the coordinating stamp. So you can't see a whole lot of it here, but it gave it some interest. You could use an embossing folder too without taking away from your focal point, which I think is this particular flower right here. I then cut out the second from the largest stitched scallop from the Scallop Contours dies for this one. Okay, so those are two colors. So then I wanted to kind of look for a red, and my first go at it was with Mary Merlot and Cherry Cobbler. Now, as it's dried, it's actually done a little better. I didn't think there was enough of a contrast, but maybe we can color that a little bit here and see. No, that isn't. Here is the Mary Merlot and Cherry Cobbler. My bad. This is Mary Merlot and Blackberry Bliss. See how you can see it so much better? And this one you can hardly see at all. So you do have to experiment a little bit. This one then is Cherry Cobbler with Blackberry Bliss. And I think that will stamp up really, really and create very, very nicely. Okay. The other one that I have completed, and this is one I experimented with. This is also the Calming Camellia, but it's also being used with our Love Bouquet hybrid bundle. And what that is it's a hybrid bundle in that it has a really nice little floral background. The folder comes with these dies. I have a couple other samples. I should have grabbed those. And you can cut and emboss this top layer from one swipe of your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. You just put it in here and the whole thing, whoops, it'll nest in there and go through. I have gotten to the point lately, it's then got another little stitched heart. It cuts out a stitched heart that's embossed, and it has a couple other little labels and little flowers and things. I cut out a label thinking maybe I'd put it here, and I just really didn't like it. So I did add a bow of some old petal pink ribbon that we used to have. So I'll stick that in there for another time. And don't lose that. And so underneath is the Camellia. The paper is petal pink, and the image, and I have one here, is stamped in Calypso Coral. Doesn't that make a nice pair? Now, I am finding, for mine at least, and you notice this is a lighter color, so you don't have quite the contrast. I am finding with my ink and my blender pens, as I mentioned, my blender pen is getting dry. I don't have as an intense a color of white, so I'm hoping when I get new blends that will change a little bit. So that's really neat. Okay, so what do we do here? All right, let's take the red one since I've got a couple of the others. And I color before I cut it out into whatever shape I want to. So you've got your craft ink. And there's a couple different ways you can do this. You can just squish it in, real technical term here. Squish it into the ink so it puts some ink onto your block. I have also taken the refill, put it on, thinking I needed more of a palette, and then smushed that around so I had a little bit more on my block. And I will leave that open because we may try that. I still haven't used it right from the lid. Or what I find I like the best, at least with my somewhat dry blender pens, is just put it directly on the block. That's my paint palette, okay? And then you'll take and you can see this has my white tip. These, like I said, these do stain, but if you wipe them off, you're also wiping off the glycerin, draining it a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to try and do this without getting my head in the way. Excuse me, I still have a little bit. What is really neat with this is you think, oh geez, I have it too dark and it's not. We'll see, maybe with this color it will be. But you will be able to see the detail come through. As it dries. My pens must be really getting dry because this is not doing what I really want it to. Let me try the other one. And maybe it's the color. Remember, we're playing today, girls. Unedited. No, I'm not liking that at all. Okay, let me let it dry, and I'm going to one that I know I'll have success with. Okay. There, you can see it. I think it's the cardstock. The red is not soaking in like this Misty Moonlight is. Interesting. I'll go back to the red one after. Can you see it disappearing into the cardstock? And so all the detail of the stamp, and remember this particular stamp is a distinctive stamp, you will still be able to see. Can you still see all that neat little detail? Because it's soaking. Yeah, this is working. So it's then up to you to decide. See, I've got a little blob of white there, and that could be just a little accent. And you really don't have to be an artist. You just cover up the areas. Now, I am leaving a little space between petals. I've done it both ways. I apologize. My daughter's dog is down here, Missy, and she is almost 14. She'll be 14 in about 2 weeks. She has a heart murmur, and so sometimes she kind of sounds like she's choking. I took both dogs outside before I got started, but she seems to see a squirrel or something outside and seems to think she needs out. Okay, can you see how the lines and the detail is coming through, and as it dries, it will do that even more. And then I like to look for the turns in the leaves. So there's kind of a turn there. There's a little bit of a tip there. Let's turn this a little bit. There. Yeah, it needs to kind of soak into the cardstock so that the detail as it's drying, oh, that's coming out really nicely. And you can add some more. Okay. Let's see what's happening over here. No, that really just never soaked in. Let's try it. And this was cherry cobbler. No, there it is a little bit. Maybe I was putting it on too heavy. I picked up too much. Well, I will try and finish a card with this one too. And we can see if it was the painter or the cardstock or the brush. I'm anxious to get some new blender pens and see if that makes the difference. Yeah, it might be coming along. And I'm looking at mine here to see where I've got detail. So that's kind of a help too, because this one is definitely darker. There is a little bit of a fringe around the edge of this one, which will disappear. And if you cut it first, then you'll also know how far you really need to color, depending on the shape. We just have circles right now, dies, a couple of odd shapes. Okay. Oh, I didn't try using the ink from the lead. That's pretty intense. Probably been there a while. Okay. So voila. I do like this one. Okay. So this one is the Blessings from Home. And if you decide, and if you will look, I've got a little bit of red. I'm pulling up the red ink a little bit. That's why you don't want to be playing in your ink pad, because you don't want to discolor that ink pad. Okay, I don't want to do leaves, but maybe I want to do the center of this one since I've done the outside on the rest. Yep, and I must have that other tip that's not wanting to release. Okay, so that's the center. And if you just even want to add a little bit, highlights, that's what those little lines are for, to give you a little bit of a guideline if you want to color. Okay, so there's just another flower that you can do. Blessings from Home. Okay, so what I wanted to also share with you, first I'll go back to this one. Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen. I used this 2 layers. It's got Evening Evergreen and white scalloped, and then I cut as what I call a smooth. We also have some gorgeous new Soft Succulent satin ribbon that I've wrapped around that. Isn't that beautiful? It was on back order for a while and is back in. Okay, so some of my playings. What happened? Here we go. All right, so I went ahead and you can't really tell what I've done. I left it out. We used to do this a long time ago, and I'm not real sure it was called whitewash, where we used to stamp on navy or black or early espresso, and we'd color in with white, and then we'd color over the top with another color. And I don't like the shiny. Oh, let's try it on a darker color. Let's see. I like this one. I don't want to use that one. So this is sometimes when you see a technique and maybe you don't have all the tools right away and you're wanting to try it. I think the problem was the lighter color. So you could get the same effect, but what happens with the pencil is it covers up all the detail. You have white, but not the white with the detail that you get with the craft ink. Craft white ink. Okay, so there's that. So I did play with that. The other thing I tried was my Aqua Painter instead of the blender pen. What happens with the Aqua Painter is it smears around, and that's what I did over here. I picked up some ink and I painted, but as I painted, again, you cover up the detail, and it ended up, because this is water and my ink pad's water, it just ends up moving around. Okay, so that did not work very well. I did, as I mentioned, try my chalk marker, but it was dry, so that's something you might try. Oh, I see something. Here is the Coneflower from Nature's Harvest. It too, if you notice, is not really turning. If you search Whitewash Technique, you'll see a lot of them are a little darker than mine are, and I really do think it depends on your blender pen. But what I tried to do for the center of these coneflowers, since they're so large, I took and put some craft ink in my well here and added, or actually I put it here to the side, some Daffodil Delight refill ink and mixed a little of this in this to see if it would color. And it's very, very light. Now it's doing better. So that's something you could play with. Okay? Something like that. So I just wanted to kind of give you the realm of possibilities of things you could do with this whitewash technique. Now on this is crumb cake, and I stamped it in early espresso. So it was, you know, again, the light and the dark. The last thing I really wanted to try here is Stella. What will happen with Stella on pigment? Especially on dark colors, Stella works so well. That might have been nice for the center of the flowers. Oop, here's that center right here. Okay. Oh, that does work nice too. Oh, so many possibilities. So I just wanted to initially share with you this whitewash technique. This is just absolutely stunning. And if you had a lot of time and you'd cut this smaller, you could go back and highlight some of the outside. But to me, that's just kind of extra eye candy. And so here's my blue one, and here's the white pencil. And this is coming out a little bit here too. So let me know which color was your favorite, which stamp set was your favorite. And if you do have a chance to give this a try, please share. Thanks so much. Have a good day and a good weekend. Thanks for stopping by. Bye.